if you did? What would your life be? You know, what if we could break generational curses? What if my movie, and I'm speaking it in existence,
Speak it,
as the prophet told me, what if my movie, you take all the people, 5, 6, 7, whatever, and they sit down and watch everything that happened to me, and it changes their thought process.
Hey, is it hard?
Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Silence with Author Nikki Nicole, where you can unleash your inner voice. So today's guest is someone I've been knowing for quite some time and actually following his progress on Facebook with his podcast. He is kicking off season 5. Yes, we are in season 5 with Terrence Adams. Well, I know him as Tay. He is the host of the NoCap Podcast. And he's also a nonprofit founder as well, the Galaxy Girlz. So I'm excited about diving into this conversation today to find out a little bit more about Tay that we don't know about him and I don't know about him. So after the countdown, please welcome Tay to the Breaking the Silence platform.
I be showing my ass they met him. Bitches is bitter, they thought it was sweet. All of a sudden they vegan, they don't want beef. Talking out of veneers, I'm knocking out teeth. I pop shit, they went pop. They bought Birkins, I bought stock. They still on the boat, I'm on the yacht. They taking shots, I'm taking spots. I see the shade, then they get blocked. They see the chain, then they went blind. Yeah, I know I'm different, I'm one of a kind. I took off on bitches and left them behind. How do you hate me if I'm on your mind? Sending me messages, ain't Valentine. Bitches is messy, but I'm petty. Don't gotta edit, check the Getty. I keep it real, I keep it sexy.
What's up, Tay?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. I was like, why did he choose that song? But that song kind of hitting a little bit.
Listen, I love me some Megan.
Yeah, I do too, but I didn't even know she made that song. I was like, where this one come from? Wow. So thank you so much for being a guest today. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Tay. I am the host of NoCap the podcast, streamer, entrepreneur. I have a nonprofit organization called the Galaxy Girlz Inc. And yeah, I'm a little bit all over the place.
I know that's right. You got to be in this life. You got to have a hustle mentality in this life in order to make it for real.
Definitely.
So, what inspired you to start NoCap Podcast?
Honestly, just me wanting to have a platform to actually like journal. So when I started it a few years ago, it was basically pre-pandemic, and it was just my way of like putting my words onto paper without being paper. So at first, I didn't want it to be like a podcast where people listen to. It was just something for me. But then my friends got into it, and that podcast turned into 2+2 podcast. So we all started doing that, and I was like, wait a minute, this might be a real thing. So here's NoCap the podcast.
Nice. So what is the theme? What is the theme of your podcast? What do y'all talk about?
Originally, like the most constant theme, because we interview TikTokers. So during the pandemic, a lot of African American TikTokers or TikTokers of color, they were getting shadow banned. So most of their content wasn't being pushed out. So I wanted to give them a platform to say what they wanted without the repercussions of just getting banned. So my podcast actually started on Instagram. And when I would interview these people, I would go into their lives and I would just simply ask them, like, hey, do you want to be interviewed on a podcast? And when I first got my first guest, I was like, oh snap. I don't even have any place to interview them on. So I just started doing it on Instagram. Then I just started studying more about like where I can do a podcast. And then I had found Podbean, I found Anchor, and then my most consistent one that I'm using now that I'm sticking with is StreamYard. So, yeah,
Yeah, the podcasting journey can be it can be a roller coaster. It can be up and down because, like in the beginning, you learn this, and then as you go by, time passes by, and you got to start researching stuff, and you to get better along the way. And you be like, "Oh yeah, I like this, so I'm gonna stay with this." So,
yeah,
what
definitely.
is the story behind your podcast name? Why do you call it No Cap Podcast?
Um, it's actually funny because originally it started with my co-host. So her catchphrase was "no cap, no cap." She would say that all the time. So I was like, I actually like that. So the podcast originally it was called No Cap with Tay and T, and then we just started calling it No Cap the Podcast. But originally it was spelled No Cap the Podcast with one T, but our original podcast had got banned in like 6 countries.
Mm.
So we
Sick.
had to change, yeah. So we had to change the name to No Cap with two T's. So yeah.
Why not banned? Six
Yeah.
countries. What did y'all do?
It was one guest we had on the show, and like I guess somebody didn't like what she said. So
Man. So with that being said, how do you choose your topics and your themes that you want to cover?
it's really like the premise of the show is really I don't really plan a topic. I'll gather with my friends and I was like, listen, what y'all want to talk about today?
Mm,
And that's why we do like TikTokers because it's easier to just talk about their content and get
right.
an episode out of that. But if we're doing like a planned episode, like we'll talk about something that's like current events, like the whole Diddy situation. Like we'll talk about that, or we'll talk about something that we might be going through at that moment in time. So basically, it's not really planned, but we just if we want to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
Right. I can't. I try, but I can't go with the flow. I be trying. I have to plan every single thing that I do. Literally.
Mm,
No, I just can't go with the flow. I haven't tried it to say I can't, but I don't know. I don't think I can go with the flow. So I commend you on that because I
yeah.
can't do it. Or what would you say is like your most favorite episode?
Oh boy, my most favorite episode. That's a good question. Well, it's between two episodes. It's between the episode I did with my friend Mimi, and it was the first time I interviewed someone that lived in another country. She lived in Spain at the time,
Mm,
and I actually did a three-part episode to that. And then my my next episode was the original Battle of the Sexes episode, but that wasn't on video, and I wish it was,
wow.
but that was back when we were doing it on Anchor.
Mm,
And that it was literally a battle. There was arguments, people cursing each other out. Like
what?
it was good. It was good.
You said it was good. You said people was on there cutting each other out. You thought it was good. It was good.
I mean, that's the
What?
point.
Oh man, see those round tables like that with the battle of the sexes. You have to be careful because people do get it. They feel it's real quick when it's men versus women. Because man, y'all be tripping. See, we ain't gonna even talk about that. But so far as a podcast, I know we have the upsides and we have the downsides. So, what would you say first? The most rewarding about being a podcaster?
Just knowing that I can share something and learn about someone that I'm interviewing and just giving them a platform to talk, that's like my whole goal. Like I always say, I don't care how many followers you have. You can have one follower or you can have 100,000 followers. You want to be on the podcast, you're going to be on the podcast. So that's my most rewarding thing when it comes to having a podcast.
Awesome, because mine is, just shining that light on people because there's a lot of people out there that are doing great things like in this whole world of people. There's so many
Exactly.
people that we still can connect with as podcasters that people don't know about. And it's
Hmm.
crazy. It's really crazy, but it's rewarding at the same time because now we giving them a place where they can come and let people know what they're about. So yeah, I
Exactly.
agree on that. So now we got the bad side. We got the most challenging part. What do you think is the most challenging part? It's so many levels to go with that when it comes down to being the challenges in podcasting.
Yeah, it's there are challenging parts, but for me personally, is when I book an interview and they don't show up at all. And then I'm just like looking and I'm like, okay, and then they don't message me at all either. So
Oh
just
wow.
when when I book an interview, I go all out. Like I'll make the thumbnail, I'll make the flyer, and I promote it. And all I ask that you actually show up if I'm doing all the work to get you on the show.
Look, you don't have to tell me that because the easy part for them is the booking. Okay, you booked
Mhm.
it. Now I got to get to work. Like you said, you got to do the flyer, you got to do the thumbnail, you got to set up the show, and you got to get. I mean,
Exactly.
I have to organize my situation, so it's like a tedious thing. But now that I've been doing it so long, it's a little bit easier for me to set up a show now. But you still putting your time into it. You're still putting effort into it. So yeah, I mean that and the time zones. Time zones have been an issue. you
Yeah.
know, you say Eastern time, but then they thinking that you're saying their time. And so
Hmm.
that's been a lot of disconnects with me. Scheduling hasn't really been an issue, but them time zones, it's a lot of issues.
Yeah.
It's a long list of challenges that you go through as a podcast that people do not know the
Definitely.
behind the scenes.
Definitely.
So what do you think you've learned so far about yourself? Because you said it started with you. It started with you. And now
Hmm.
it's you, and now you have a co-host. What have you learned about yourself after starting your podcast?
Um, that I actually like talking to people because growing up, I was a very shy kid. Like I was shy. I didn't talk to nobody, stayed to myself. I'm still kind of to myself now, but I'm more so of I like to call myself an extroverted introvert.
Mhm.
So I actually I enjoy being social and talking to people and getting to know more people. And I didn't know that about myself. You would have asked me that when I was in sixth grade, I would have been like, nope, I don't want to talk to you. So
I felt that. I can agree with that too because I was the quiet. I was, just observant of people. I didn't really talk to people, but when you get behind the mic, it's like a
mhm,
whole nother world opens up, and now you're like, yeah, I actually like doing this. I want to continue to do this. I like these people. So,
definitely,
I felt that when you said that, like I'm an introvert, but I also like talking to people and dealing with people and being around people. So call me. I mean, I guess it's the best of both worlds. You can say it like that, the best of both worlds.
exactly.
So how do you stay motivated, to consistently create content? Because this world of content creating can get real tedious. And now you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at the followers, you're looking at all these different elements. How do you stay consistent and motivated?
Um, my daughter, she motivates me because she likes to do vlogging, and that's another form of content. And she's a Galaxy girl, so and I look at her and I'm like, I just got to keep going. And so, like, when I'm scrolling TikTok and I see somebody live and I like their content, I just slide in the DM, so to speak, and ask them. And just making the thumbnails, like that's another weird thing because sometimes what I do is I'll create thumbnails. Even if I don't have an episode lined up behind it, I'll just make thumbnails. I have over 100 thumbnails that I created. And sometimes what I do is like since I created the thumbnail and I do get somebody to interview that's related to that topic, I'll just swap whatever picture I use on the thumbnail for their picture.
Hmm.
That's like a little podcasting thumbnail secret.
So basically, you're creating templates.
Yes, basically.
Hmm. Templates always make it. I've been on that template thing for a minute. It makes it a whole lot easier,
Hmm.
to do things when you have a template in place. Wow. So I don't have to ask you, what type of legacy you're trying to leave behind because I'm assuming that it's for your daughter.
It's definitely for my daughter. Definitely.
Nice. I love it. So, what advice would you give to someone looking to start a podcast? What would you tell them now? Looking back at the podcaster you was in the beginning to now,
Mhm.
what would you say?
Um, just do it. Just keep going. Like, don't look at the numbers. Don't look at how many views the video got. Don't look at how many guests you have. Don't look at if somebody doesn't show up. Just do it. Like, even if you have to talk to the camera, look at the camera, talk about something. That's it, and record it. Then get your
Absolutely.
little clips and post them wherever you need to post them. Just do it. That's all I can say.
I've talked to myself so much since I've been a podcaster. I was like, I don't need nobody to talk to. I can talk to myself now. I'll line up in a minute and do something and just talk to myself. So yeah, you do have to just start. But I have to say that it's not about press and play either. You can't just go in there and press and play. You have to plan it. You have to organize it. You have to structure it. It took me a
Mm,
year before I launched. So
mm,
I planned a whole entire year and still wasn't ready. Still wasn't ready. So you're never going to be ready because you're going to learn so many different things along the journey. You're going to meet different people. You're going to like take a little bit from them and you're going to look at what they're doing and you're like, I could be doing better. So you're going to always change things. I'm starting to feel like I'm where I need to be. I'm getting ready to be at a year of podcasting. So you're not going to grasp it in the beginning, but you can't just go and press play. It's a lot to that. I'm just saying.
definitely.
So we're gonna change the gears. We're gonna talk about the Galaxy Girls. So how did the Galaxy Girls start?
Okay. So the Galaxy Girl started when back in 2022 when I worked in the after school program. And my daughter was one of my students. So she came up to me and she asked me, she was like, I want to go to a dance school. So I looked up dance schools and they're expensive. So I said, how about this? Instead of going to a dance school, why don't we create a dance team with you and your best friend? So that's what we did. We created a dance team. And at first, it was just a school thing. And then I started looking up events in the neighborhoods, and they started dancing in the neighborhoods. And that's how the Galaxy Girls got started. But it wasn't until 2023 where me and my sister decided to actually turn it into a nonprofit organization because we wanted other kids to experience like traveling around New York City and the tri-state area and stuff like that.
Nice. So you said 2020 you started it?
2022.
Wow. So not only is it a dance, it's a I'll say an outlet for girls to
Mhm.
express themselves. It's also a nonprofit organization as well. So the organization helps other young girls, or is it for young children? Period.
Children, period. Children, period.
Nice, nice. Okay, I love that. So, can you share, well, do you have a website or anything like that where people can donate, or do you even offer donations to your website? I mean, to your
Um,
organization?
we don't have a website. We do have a Cash App. It's the Galaxy Girls with
Okay.
with a S and a Z. The Galaxy Girls are spelled weird. I'll let you guys know how to spell it. But yeah, we haven't gotten many donations, but we did recently get funded by the state of New York for an after school program, which is going to be starting in January 2025. So that we're happy about that.
Nice. Do you do events, like community events for the Galaxy Girls?
Yes, we do. We do. We go to different events. They're actually going to be marching in the Halloween parade, the big Halloween parade in 14th Street. So
Okay. Love it. Love it. So where
and
do you
they're
see
also,
yourself in the next, I say 5 to 10 years as a podcaster and a nonprofit?
as a podcaster, I want to grow my platform. I want to have at least like some big names that I've been wanting to interview that I call them the unattainables, but I do believe that everybody's attainable. You just have to have the patience to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And as a nonprofit, I just want to see them doing dances in different states. Like they've done I want to turn them into like a majorette team. So and just travel to the United States and do competitions.
Awesome. So I'm down to my last question. I ask this question all the way across the board because everybody gives a different answer for this question. So, if you were having a conversation with your younger self about you now, what would you say to them?
Man, you wouldn't believe what I'm about to tell you. That's, that's exactly. I would tell them like, listen, he talks more. Like he's a video game streamer. My younger self would probably ask me, "What's a video game streamer?" I'm like, "Don't worry, you'll grow up and learn about it." And that he kept going. He believed in himself finally. So yeah,
Awesome. I love it. So, now this is your time to really shine. This is what I call the 30 seconds of BTS fame. So, I'm going to do your countdown. And after your countdown, you're gonna have the platform to yourself. I want you to shine to the mountaintops where people can find you, how they can follow your journey, how they can be a guest in your platform, how they can donate to the Galaxy Girls and help them grow. Anything you want to do or say to make you shine more, do it after this countdown.
okay.
All right.
I be showing my ass they met him. Bitches is bitter, they thought it was sweet. All of a sudden they vegan, they don't want beef. Talking out of veneers, I'm knocking out teeth. I pop shit, they went pop. They bought Birkins, I bought stock. They still on the boat, I'm on the yacht. They taking shots, I'm taking spots. I see the shade, then they get blocked. They see the chain, then they went blind. Yeah, I know I'm different, I'm one of a kind. I took off on bitches and left them behind. How do you hate me if I'm on your mind? Sending me messages, ain't Valentine. Bitches is messy, but I'm petty. Don't gotta edit, check the Getty. I keep it real, I keep it sexy.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tay. So, where you can find me on IG and TikTok at NoCap the podcast. And if you want to support my girls, you can donate to them at Cash App, the Galaxy Girls. Girls is spelled GURLSZ, the Galaxy Girls. You can also follow them on Instagram and TikTok as well. And if you're a Fortnite player out there and you like to buy skins, you can support me by using my creator code at Tajin Gaming. So thanks, guys.
Always come back on mute. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tay, for being a guest. If there's something that I can do for you, share something, whatever you need me to do. Like especially the Galaxy Girl. I'm like a sucker for nonprofits. So if there's any way that I can help build that for you even further, send me all the information, inbox me the information so I can push that for you and your girls and your daughter so y'all can get to the next level because I love that. I love to see that
Thank
you're doing that. That's a great thing. And I commend you as a man for doing something like that to help the younger generation because they need people like you in their lives. They really do.
Yes,
They really do.
yes, because I've had a bunch of memorable leaders that have led me. So I just want to pay it forward to the community.
You have to. You have to though. It's funny you say that because I've had a lot of influential people in my life that are gone now, but they always would pour into me. And the biggest thing was it was a village then. It's not a village like it used to be. And if we can just get back to that village, then the world will be a better place.
Definitely.
Period. But thank you again for coming and being a part of my platform. I really do appreciate your presence.
Thank you. And I appreciate you for having me. I've been waiting for this.
I know, I know. And thank you everyone else out there for tuning into this amazing episode with Tay. Y'all gotta make sure y'all support him. that's a great thing to have somebody in the community that cares about the children, because it's rare, especially for a man, to make that movement to care about the children. So make sure y'all pour into the Galaxy Girlz. I will be posting that information for everybody to pour into his organization. And also make sure you tune into his podcast on Facebook, NoCap Podcast. I believe he said it's 2 T's. Podcast on Facebook. Make sure y'all tune in and find out, what the conversation is about. I pop in here and there and I try to support as much as I can, even when I on my busiest days. If I pop in, that's a good thing, because Lord, I be trying to get a few minutes. So I try to support everybody that comes across my platform and run it, so we all can win together. I really believe that if we do this together, we can get there faster. But if we don't, it's going to be a long journey and it's going to take a long time to get where we're going. But if we can just really start seeing that if we do it together and genuinely want to do it together, then we can get to the next level together. So I always say this to y'all. You matter, your life matters, your voice matters. And whatever you can do in this life, you can do it. But you have to first have the mindset. You have to believe that you can do it. No matter what you're doing, you can do it if you believe it. So remember, the village still exists. We just have to know it exists. So until next time, continue to break the silence with Author Nikki Nicole. And y'all have a great day. Thank you for joining me in another episode of Breaking the Silence. I hope that you have enjoyed our conversation today and it has inspired you to think deeper, speak louder, and take action. Remember, every voice matters, and together we can create a world where we all win and no one feels unheard. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Stay connected with me on social media for updates and more powerful stories. So until next time, keep breaking the silence and making a difference.